we're just looking at Alan's garage. Probably the best garage we've had on the show. A legitimate garage punk. I just love those curtains, man. It takes me back to I don't know, the 70s.
Yeah, it was very 70s.
Yeah,
I just like orange.
Really?
Who doesn't
You
love
should
orange?
do more crimes. Then just get used to the color all the time.
Hey, forgot we're live. How's everyone doing?
Live.
It's that time of the week again. Oh, and as if by magic. What's up? What's up?
Oh, and you got your room set up.
Mikey, you got to do one little thing: is mirror or unmirror the camera down there with the cogwheel. Go down to the bottom, video, and hit video, and then hit the little mirror or unmirror.
Oh yeah,
that's it. Okay,
I see.
We're all set. Yeah, the gang's all here. Beautiful. We're all set.
Yeah.
It's a quartet, not a trio.
Cheers.
Well, we like it.
Cheers.
Hi, Daniel in the chat saying hi.
Hey, let's have a look at the chat. See who's here. There you go. Daniel's here. Hey, good evening. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We're off last week. It's good to be back. It's going to be a great show. I'm excited, as always. Can't wait to see what everyone's picked out. Everyone's been listening to. We've got 5 or more each. It's going to be great. I'm going to have a good time. We're going to have a good time. I'm super excited.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to have a shitty time.
It's going to be horrible. Switch off now if you don't want to endure 2 hours of depressing.
Give up now. Tomorrow's going to be worse.
Alan's back. We were just in Osaka. Well, Alan was in Osaka. I'm in Osaka all the time, but Alan was over here. What was that, a couple of months ago?
Yeah, a couple months ago. Mikey was here, but I unfortunately didn't work out.
I can't believe you didn't come.
I can't believe it either. I think, wasn't that either like just as my daughter was about to have triplets, or after she'd had triplets, or she was in the hospital?
It was what? It was March?
Okay, so she was having a time with getting ready to.
It was an experience. I had never been over, and it was a magical place. It's crazy.
It is a magical place. And you played at Pop in Kyoto, right?
Yeah. Played at Kyoto, Nagoya, and Tokyo, and did a lot of record shopping. You have very good record stores.
Thank you.
Shibuya Tower Records and Disc Union were very good to me. So
yeah, Disc Union's a good one, but like it's crazy how like Tower actually have like there's Tower, and then they even have like separate vinyl stores now. Recently, as well. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
No, it's pretty amazing to be in the Tower like jazz area and just
vinyl section. Yeah, it's pretty wild. Yeah, Paul's back. AKA, he's giving his real name away or his interweb's name. All right. Should we get going? Let's do this.
Let's do it. Cheers. I talked about this band before. It was actually episode 51. I looked it up. Episode 51. I talked about this band and I was really excited. I still am excited about this band. They're from Tucson, Arizona. Did I pronounce that right? Tucson, Tucson, Arizona. I talked about this band before, and I was like, "This record is amazing. This album is amazing." But I kind of found out that it was actually like just their demo tapes, like put on an LP.
Okay.
And I was just like, "This is like the best. This could be sort of like an undiscovered like '77 like punk demo." It was like that good. I was super excited about it. So I was excited that they had a new record out. And I'm still excited about this band. I think this record is good. They're very prolific, this band. They're on Feel It Records. This is like their third LP in 3 years. Very nice artwork on this. Very simple. Very class.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Healthy alternative. Just came out. Man, this is their third LP in like 3 years. It's crazy. Like plus the collection LP
that's awesome.
I talked about too.
Yeah.
and I don't know like where these guys came from. I didn't look up their history of other bands and stuff, but man, wild. It's like I said, it's 77 like raw records, punk, like punky power pop. They kind of cover all the bases, but like they do it all of them like so well.
Yeah,
they sound like lost,
awesome.
like lost classics. You know, like an undiscovered demo from a band that I've never been heard before from raw records like 1976 or something. So.
Yeah, that's amazing.
You sold me it.
I gotta check that out.
Yeah, you sold me at Tucson. Like, yeah.
I mean, I don't know what's going on in Tucson. Is Class the only band from Tucson? I don't know, but
Useless Pieces of Shit, I think, were from there.
Okay.
There's a band called Fuck that was like face full of cactus thorns or something like that. But yeah, that's where Toxic Shock.
There was a famous label and shop from Tucson, wasn't there?
Yeah, the Toxic Shock, Toxic Ranch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So it does have a history.
One of the guitar players from 45 Grave.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
The band Peace Corps, Skinner Box.
There you go.
Oh.
There was that Toxic Shock thing had like there was bands, there was a scene, right? There's definitely a scene down there.
The Fells, were they from there? But whatever, that's great.
Yes.
Let's talk about Class.
It's just wild. It's like kind of new band has already have like they've already got 3 amazing full length LPs in like 3 years.
That's great.
How many people are in the band?
4 people.
Okay.
Andy, Eric, John, actually 5. Well, no, 4 as a kind of backing. I was going to say actually that's a good question. Like this record, they've kind of I mean, where are they going to go with this sound? That's like, can they keep making the same like 77 style like raw punk record again and again and again? Well, they can do that, but there's some like saxophone on this record, like a little bit of saxophone, and some like
well, that's like canon, right? Is eventually adding a little bit of sax.
Yes, and then some like belching synthesizer on one track, squelching or belching.
Hell yeah,
whichever you like. Yeah, man, it's great. I mean, I've seen them compared to like a lot of things, like early Parquet Court. I've never heard that band, so I don't know. Early Wire, kind of lo-fi production, just killer stuff. Great songs.
It's funny. Parquet Courts is one of those bands that I never really got into. But anytime I'm somewhere and I hear one of their songs, I'm like, this is the greatest song I've ever heard. And I'll Shazam it, and it's a Parquet Courts song. So eventually we'll get their records. And
right? They kind of must be by the time like their first album is supposed to be like a modern kind of classic, apparently.
Yeah.
I like them I like their records when they started. I don't see the Class Parquet Courts comparison, really.
Mm-mm.
But Parquet Courts are a bit more kind of like more, I'd say more like post-punk or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what I liked about them was their songs were like concise.
Right.
And I saw them live and they jammed a lot. Like every song ended with a jam. And it put me off because I was like,
I think that's one of the reasons I never got into them, because I did see them. I saw them super early on, and we the Ergs used to play. They had an old band called Teenage Cool Kids, I think. They were from Houston, and then they moved to Brooklyn and started Parquet Courts. I think that's right. But so I was kind of semi-interested in checking it out, and yeah, it was just something about the live set just didn't grab me at all, and then I just never got into any of the records. But then, like I said, whenever I hear a song, I'm like, this is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I was going to say one more thing, actually. I believe, I'm not mistaken, that Allan's band Neutrals appear on a compilation with Class, and that's the benefit for mutual aid in Gaza compilation that Rachel.
Was that a cassette comp?
We're the worst band on there, but yeah, that's there's great cause, great comp.
There's
and
3 volumes now.
If it's still Bandcamp Friday, you can go on and pick up either that or the first compilation that came out as a cassette is just out on vinyl.
That's right. So you can
we're
go
not
to the
we're not
Dissidents. The
Yeah,
Is that
Dissidents,
on Knife Hits or?
Dissidents Bandcamp page.
Yeah,
Just
we're
that's
not on the first one, but the mob are on it. Like there's like tons of good bands on it, and so like yeah, good time to pick it up.
Yeah.
Those comps are crazy because they sell out so quickly. So
Yeah.
it's like they could do more good if they pressed more, because then they're like, oh, they're gone. Like as soon as they put up those cassette
Yeah,
comps,
there's still
or
the
the
digital,
vinyl
there's still digital, and then you know, maybe I don't know. We'll see about like whether the rest of them come out on vinyl eventually, but
so
yeah,
many of those people who are
Rachel,
like,
you know, friend of the show, obviously, is you know, like does tons of work putting those together or something.
Yeah. That must have been a lot of work to get all
Does
those bands.
Oh, can you imagine? Like, true labor of love, and
Yeah. Neutrals, Class on it, Burning Kitchen, Chain Cult, House Rotten, like all the bands, all the good bands on this. So, but you know, obviously the cause is the main focus here. But
exactly.
there you go. All right, that's my first pick. Bit of class for you.
All right.
Nondescript name, but there you go. All right, Alan, what's your first pick?
I'm gonna let's see, what is my first pick? Okay, this one is a bit of a weird one that I just like. I was on Instagram and I had no idea, you know, I like for some reason this came across my feed on Instagram, and a person who I'm familiar with from previous bands posted this thing that appeared to be a new project that they're involved in, and everything that this person has done has been amazing. So I was like, okay, well, I'm definitely gonna check this out, and it is very different. So it took me by surprise. DX from Australia, from Sydney, who was in Total Control, Straight Jacket Nation, and UV Race, bands like that. He posted about this new record that he's involved in. The album's called The Gherkin.
The Gherkin.
The band is called G2G, or I think it might stand for like Good to Go or Got to Go or something. But it's yes, your man. It's your man there. He looks a little bit different these days. But DX, and then these three young ladies. And I think from digging around the band, it was their band. They had this band already, the three women. And then I don't know, at some point, like he joined or whatever. But it's like almost anything from Australia or New Zealand that I myself. It's quite catchy, snotty. Australians, no one does snottiness like Australians, right? Like ever.
Yeah.
That it just like it's kind of snotty, like kind of post-punk, but like not. If not, the way post-punk can be kind of effective and arty, it's not that. It's brash, maybe a little bit like Lung Leg, or what was the other thing I was thinking of that reminded me of? Can't remember. Should have written it down. But yeah, no, I love it. There's a lot of energy. I think like all three of the women. All three of the women sing. I'm not even sure what DX does.
He's their fucking body man, like throwing guys.
Yeah,
he's security. Security.
Yeah.
How long are the songs, and how many?
Pardon?
How long are the songs, and like how many?
There's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's like 10 songs on it or something.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, it's like kind of, it's like all like punky stuff. If you like punk,
Who doesn't?
I don't. Yeah. Yeah.
G2G is the name of the band, right? And the Gherkin is the name of the record.
Yeah.
Interesting.
G2G. Rachel's on there saying only the first one is sold out. So
That's
only
right.
the first tape is sold out, Paul.
Yes, I did. I put that up there.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, and but also the first one is on vinyl.
That's it.
Anyway, Gherkin,
G2G?
G2G,
the Gherkin.
The Gherkin is the name of the album. I was confused as well. It took me like I had actually written down the Gherkin as the name of the band tonight.
Right. Good band name.
And I've had it for like a month, and then I realized, oh, actually, that's the name of it. So, but yeah,
I mean, G2G might mean sort of gherkins to go, or like
it might mean gherkin to gherkin, which
gherkin.
might be a sexual reference.
Got a gherkin.
Yes, there you go.
H-O-T-T.
Anyway, yeah,
Oh, it's a pickle, right?
Yes,
We'll look it up.
yes.
I wanted to make sure we weren't repeating something that is going to get me banned from my parent-teacher conference.
It's pickle on pickle action.
They could be talking about the building, the building in London.
Building in London, yeah.
Beautiful. All right. So many good records coming out of Australia these days. You know.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to keep up. So.
It really is.
Yeah. All right. Nice, Mikey. What's your first pick?
Well, I'm always and forever in reissue kind of thing. So let's see. What's the first? Well, okay. So Brainiac, Smack Bunny Baby. I wasn't into this band, but I didn't know this band when they were around. And then a documentary came out a few years ago and really piqued my interest in this band because they were like-minded individuals and produced by Lijadu and, you know, just a really good, like every name on this thing was like something I was interested in. So I was like, I got to check this out. And then Craft Recordings reissued the LP a few months ago, and it's just one of the greatest records ever made. It's so weird and good. If anybody doesn't know Brainiac, they had three records, I think, maybe four, and then their singer brainchild got into a car accident, and a fatal car accident. And,
oh, I never knew that.
Yeah,
I like that band. I don't have that album, but I have a bunch of their records, and I didn't know that.
Yeah, apparently he bought this like really kind of like with some of the first money they got, he bought this like real beater, like piece of shit car that was just leaking exhaust into the car forever. Wow. And apparently it finally just came up, like it just caught up with him and passed out like behind the wheel. And they've just gotten back together and kind of are doing the thing where they're kind of touring around, like kind of in tribute to him and stuff. And they've reissued that and issued a couple like demo albums of stuff that they were working on. Cause I think it was one of those things where they were just about to get signed to like Interscope or something.
It was the time.
Yeah. But yeah, I can't believe I never checked them out before. There's always so many fucking bands that you just like, right. How did I never listen to this before? This is like right up my alley.
Yeah. Are we sort of talking 90s, 2000s? Were they on Sub Pop?
No, they were on Grass Records.
Grass.
Yeah, and Touch and Go put out their last album before they were about to get like signed. Yeah.
Okay.
Grass had a lot of good bands.
Grass did have a lot of good bands. Yeah, I had a bunch of like
Mikey. My story with Brainiac is the same. It's like all of my friends loved that band, so I was like, I'll have time. I'll borrow it from Joel or Skip or
totally.
And it wasn't until I watched that. Actually, I never finished the documentary. I'd started it, and then I didn't get to that part at the end, to the middle or wherever like the tragedy happens.
No, it's crazy. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Just like an insane, like right when everything was about to happen for them, like wonder what would have happened. And, of course the documentary is all like every notable person ever being like, they were my favorite band. Like I couldn't believe that this band was so good.
Grohl, Rollins, Mackay.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Bingo. Got them all.
Yes.
It might be the one documentary Mackay is not in. Actually.
That's a very recent reissue, right, Mikey?
Yeah, it came out I think earlier this year. Yeah, or actually late last year, late 2023. But Touch and Go's been reissuing like a lot of their stuff, and
a lot of people in our kind of circle are not so into the reissues. I'm a fan. I'm a big fan of a really well done reissue, especially stuff from like the 90s and the 2000s that maybe was really hard to get now on vinyl or super expensive.
Yeah, I haven't like come around on those reissues, but it's just like so much easier. Like, I'm gonna hold out for the original. I want a battered, shitty copy that has like cigarette marks on. Like, fuck that. Like, just if it comes out and it's $30, I'll just get it. It's easier.
It's funny. I've just like all I've been like kind of collecting lately is just because you know it's gonna be like a better, or at least you know where the vinyl's been. It's just been at the pressing plant, and that's it. Yeah. Someone wasn't doing coke off of it, like.
But quite often there's reissues that come out where you can actually find the original for cheaper.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's true too, right?
That's true. Yeah.
Like what? Like,
like who needs another like Boston or like Journey when those things come out and people stand in line in record store day?
That's the other side of the coin for sure.
No, that's always so funny. Like reissuing the like 15th Ringo Starr album. It's like, this is definitely still there. There's no such thing as a dollar bin record anymore, but this is still a dollar bin record.
Yeah.
You can still get this for $1.
All right.
I do have some friends though that have heard some reissues of like DC area records that have come out and been reissued, remastered, remixed, and they fucking hate them because the sound that they loved, they grew up on, and now it's different. And
it's funny.
Like, I don't like that because I heard it when they were shitty kids, and as shitty kids, this was their perspective, as was mine. So that's the one that I like.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I totally get it. And as long as they keep the original mix in print, like that's, or at least on streaming or whatever. But I do love a remix every now and then, just because it's like, it's just cool to hear a different perspective on the record or whatever, like. Well, like we just did that for Dork Rock Cork Rod for the first Ergs record, and it was just like it was just so cool to hear what we did back then, like, updated a little bit for current technology. We didn't like change anything, but like it's definitely a little clearer, and I don't know, it's just cool to have. But then we also were like, we're gonna put the other record into the other mix just because we want it. We're not trying to replace it. We're just trying to like have this cool other thing,
But the way that you guys did it is you got the guy that has this particular sound of bringing out a sound in music, which was curious because it wasn't a sound that the Ergs had. So it was weird, interesting to listen to that. Like, ooh, that's some fucking dark shit.
Yeah, it was funny because it was still Steve Albini remixed it, and like. He's not known. In fact, he actively has said, like, I don't like mixing other people's records. Like, I want to mix the stuff that I've recorded. So I was shocked that he said that he would do it. And I got to sit there with him and while he did it. And it was pretty cool to hear, like, him. He didn't know the record at all. Probably didn't give a shit about it. But it was like, he'd hear like a guitar part. He's like, oh, I got to bring that up. That's cool. And it was like kind of buried in the original mix, like shit like that. And I was just like, oh, this is cool to have like someone else's perspective on this record.
That sounds cool.
But yeah. I like a remix every now and then.
Yeah, sure.
Well, you guys all probably know this. It was news to me because I listened to a really long podcast a while ago about it was like about the making of Out of Step.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't realize that the pressing that I have, which is like probably third pressing or something, and that was around forever, is a remix. That the first pressing or maybe the second pressing had a different mix.
Right.
And so now I'm going to have to spend a lot of money.
I didn't know that until that podcast.
All right, so yeah, we both listened. It was really great. It was a really interesting.
I love that
podcast.
That Life of the
What's it
Record.
called again? Life of the Record.
Yeah, so good.
Were the first two just like dance beats and drum machines, or like how?
Well, and that's
like
the thing is like those,
right? Like
I think those records were still recorded. I think probably on a 4-track, so it probably can't sound that different. You know, There's only so much you can do.
Right.
I'd be interested to hear that other mix though.
They took the
All right,
Paul, what's your pick?
My pick.
Your pick.
So this band, it's a Midwest band. Everyone's familiar with Minneapolis and some of the fabulous bands and people that have come out of there. Prince, Huskadoo. What are some others? The Replacements. So this band toured through Michigan a lot. My band, Fletcher, at the time, had the opportunity to play with these guys and befriend them a little bit. And the drummer was telling me this great story. He was a teenager in high school. His English teacher came in, Mr. Schwarzkopf. I don't know the teacher's name. I was like, hey, come with me, Pete. And took Pete down to the music room, and he thought that he was in trouble. He was like, hey, I want to introduce you to one of my former students. And he got to go into the band room and play drums with Dave Perner from Soul Asylum.
Oh, wow.
And he was telling me that this was one of his dreams come true, right? Because he was just a young high school kid in punk bands and stuff. Later on, take that experience and amplify that to the point where now they're on Amphetamine Reptile. And the record that I'm going to talk about is their second record, the Quick, Fast, in a Hurry, the band Guzzard.
Oh.
AmRep. And what's different about this to me than other AmRep bands is there's a certain like melody and quality to this record, but still has that weird driving force to it. And I have a thing where I kind of like that midway between a band's career where they haven't found the sound that's made them popular, but they've broken from their crawl position and they're standing and they're finding themselves. And this is that perfect record. The snare sound like pops, the drums are crazy. They're each trying to be like the best at their instrument, still remaining whimsical, but driving and AmRep-y and forward leaning, but also it's the Middle West. It's Minneapolis. It's Michigan. It's the Midwest. You can't escape the gray sky. And because of all of that, my first pick is this Guzzard record. Still available everywhere for cheap as hell.
But is there a reissue on 180 gram that I can get for
It's actually 780 grams.
Yeah. No, you've told me that sounds great. I've seen that record. I've seen that record a million times and passed by it.
Me too.
Me too. Yeah.
The song Sebastian's Revenge on this, just like the way it just starts so simply, the stops and starts of the band without being like emo and mathy, still keeping the rock music vibe to it. I just fell in love with it. And I want to say that
when you see the gray skies of Minneapolis, like I'm like, because coming from somewhere with also a lot of gray skies, like that's something that I pick up on. And Huskadoo and stuff like that is like I pick up on that vibe.
So it has that sort of foreboding, dark quality to it, but also like the songs have like a hopefulness to them. And one thing that I don't really like is like really long songs that tend on to just go on for just like the bands like just masturbating on top of each other, right? Like I hate that kind of stuff. There's a couple long songs on here, one in particular that keeps me so like enthralled and like hypnotizes me that it's one of the few that escapes that judgment that I usually have of long songs. Them and like Bottomless Pit have been like the only two bands that have been able to do that for me. And so there you go.
Guzzard.
And I think it's like you could probably get it right now for like $4 or $1 somewhere. It's a great. Actually, this guy, Pete, the drummer, was the only guy. My last name is Bayer. So all growing up in high school and elementary school, was like bare ass and bare naked and all that. When I met him, he made the only Bayer joke that I'd never heard before. He's like, oh yeah, Paul Bayer. He's like, a name you can trust. like their aspirin. I'm like, oh fuck yeah, dude, we're best friends. I think I gave him a hug. That was a long time ago in Kalamazoo, Michigan. I don't know. At the time, he was going to culinary school. He might still be. He might be a chef somewhere. But there was 2 brothers. It was Tom and Pete, and their bass player, which I can't recall his name right now.
Nice.
Go grab it.
Yeah, I felt there's like vast swathes of the AmRep catalogue that remain unheard by my ears. You know, there's a lot of it.
There's so much stuff. Yeah.
All right, round 2. Let's talk about Marmite for a bit, or Vegemite if you're from Australia. Do you know what I mean when I say that?
Yeah,
I do.
You know, it's like people say like, well, they're a Marmite band. Like you know, you either like love it.
It's an acquired taste, or you either love it or you hate it. Yeah.
There's nobody's going to say, they're sort of okay. It's like you either really like them or you die. Maybe this band isn't a Marmite band. That's the way I've sort of chosen to introduce this. They might not be Marmite at all, but in my mind, they are kind of Marmite. Reissue. It's reissue time in a way. DC. DC. Marmite band from DC, who are around and who were kind of getting going in sort of 87, 88, but were on another label, funnily enough, called Sandwich, which is where you quite often put Marmite. They're on Sandwich. They were on
even in a song.
I didn't plan that one. I just realized
it's all coming together.
It's all coming together. I knew that was the reason I chose.
You're weaving a tapestry for us.
Yes. They were on Sandwich originally. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people don't like this band for certain
I think I know what it is.
Well, guess. Have a guess.
Jail Cell Recipes?
They're not DC.
Different Merseyside.
Liverpool straight.
It's got a blue cover. It's similar to that.
Here we go.
Have like a blue strip down afterwards or something like that? Oh, go ahead. Just go ahead.
Let's bring it out. Let's bring out the Marmite jar. Let's spread it around. Shudder To Think.
Oh yeah, Shudder To Think.
I'm talking about Shudder To Think. I love this band. Like from the very first time I heard them, I know I was like, man, who's this? What's this? I think I got like the first 7-inch on in the tape trading days, and then I got the first LP. And then I got, and I kind of followed them along for a while. I went to see them in Bristol. Can you imagine like Shudder To Think playing in Bristol, like Punk Central?
Right.
People did not know what to make of, and Craig Wedrum was just standing on the stage with a flask of like hot tea.
Yeah, they played in Glasgow as well.
On the same tour, I guess, right?
Yeah, it probably was. Yeah, I thought they were great. I loved that band. At that time, I loved anything out of DC. So
right, so it's like very like 87, 88 sort of DC, Rain.
They were definitely different. Different because
there's something different about them, and it's really Craig's vocals, right? It's the main thing that kind of sets them apart. He's got this very unique style, which if you sort of close your eyes and sort of be quiet a little bit, and kind of reminds me of Ozzy Osbourne, actually.
Really?
Like a sort of art school Ozzy Osbourne.
Mm-hmm.
I have to go back and listen to them side by side. But
there's like every now and again he does like a higher note that kind of does sound a bit like Ozzy Osbourne in his like Blizzard of Oz days, and maybe that's one thing that people can't stomach is his vocals. And then like the melodies are quite hard to grasp onto at first. Then
it was definitely the vocals that like made me.
Right.
I haven't gotten there yet.
You're right.
I'll keep trying. It's funny. Like there's certain bands that are just like clicks, even though they're kind of hard to listen to sometimes. But then there's certain bands that like it took me so long to get into the Pixies for some reason. I don't know why.
Right.
I kept buying and rebuying and selling and rebuying their records for years until it finally just clicked one day.
Yeah, I think if somebody watching or listening knows the singer or the band, they need to forward the fact that he sounds like an art school Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah,
definitely. I think that's a great.
I don't think I'm the first person to say that.
Yeah,
I just think it's great.
I mean,
How is that? I don't have that record.
Okay, let me explain what this is. So this is like it's their first demo. It's their first demo from '87, which is sort of the most basic and straightforward thing they ever did.
Yeah, I need to get that.
Cool.
That's on, what label's that on?
It's on LG Records, which have done some other
everything. They've done a lot of stuff. They did Las Morguitas and that, and
and they're, I think they did what's that?
A lot of stuff from that area.
Right. They've done some stuff. Let's put it.
Yeah, they're busy right now. In the last couple of years, they've been really busy doing.
Yeah. They did Las Morguitas. They did that.
Demo, but
Wild Cherubs.
Wild Cherubs. That's what I was trying to think of.
Yeah.
Okay. It's the first demo, but like, according to Discogs, this doesn't have all of the songs on it. But I don't know if that's correct.
Yeah.
But so first demo, which is sort of the most basic, straightforward, and the first EP. The B-side is that It Was Arson 7-inch, which I love that 7-inch.
Yeah.
And then it's got another a version of Take the Child, different mix or different recording.
So that would actually probably be a pretty good jumping off point.
Starting point. Yeah. Robert in the chat is saying, didn't they get signed to a major in the 90s? I think they did.
They did. I was going to actually get to that. So I can kind of go along for the ride, like the Pony Express record. Like 10 Spot is my favorite. Like 10 Spot is my favorite record by them. Yeah. Even though it sounds horrible, the production is horrible, and they did actually do the remake or the remastering thing. It sounds a bit better, but then they signed to Epic Records, and that for me is when they went to. It's like the difficult melodies became sort of impossible for me to kind of.
Grasp. Yeah, they got
this with like the blue cover.
Less commercial.
Yes.
Which one of those has like the blue cover? One of them has like a white cover with a goat, and one of them is like a.
That's
blue
Get Your
cover.
Goat. It's the one. With
I don't know the names of any records, but when
you say goat, it was a nice beat. So I remember easily. But yeah, difficult band to get into. I get it, but I think all that the late '80s stuff is definitely the best stuff. I think.
And Snatch Records was Amanda Mackay's label, right? Ian's sister.
Yeah.
There you go.
I was trying to. I thought that was the case, and I was
pulling it all together again, weaving a tapestry.
Yeah.
Weaving a tapestry of a tapestry of sandwiches. But yeah,
and I like art school Ozzy better than I like nursing school Ozzy, just for the simple fact that he was going crazy with that stuff.
Art school Ozzy Osbourne. There you go. Wow. The guitar playing is kind of like difficult too. He kind of noodles around a bit and
definitely widdly,
a little bit widdly, but definitely very arty, and the melodies are not. It takes a while to kind of understand them. I like him. I'm a big fan. Like, this is a very nice reissue. Archival release.
That was definitely a fertile period in DC in that time. We think about all the different things that were happening that all sort of like stood apart from each other.
Allan, thank you for saying that, because I've thought that for a long time too. Like, everyone is so focused on those early hardcore stuff, but I really like that later '80s period where
me too.
Yeah, like you had like different stuff, and you had Ignition, all of the bands.
Yeah, when you think about, like, you've got Ignition, Embrace, Rise of Spring,
Soulside.
You've got Dag Nasty. You've got Shudder to
Think.
Think.
Just the Discord stuff. Then think of like Reptile House and like the other like Merkin bands that were around there, and then the Unrest and all of that stuff that was around.
Yeah. And then Black Tambourine and the
Wild Cherubs.
The Wild Cherubs.
I still to this day I think Embrace is my favorite Ian MacKaye band. Like, that record is just perfect.
Is like those Spotify things that come up?
Yeah.
Like, hey, what's your year in whatever? It's my most listened to was De La Soul and Embrace. And I think it's only because like when I'm working when I'm in my garage, and I'm like doing projects, I have that on so the neighbors don't get bugged because they don't want to hear like whatever Rorschach or whatever blasting. So I can deal with it, they can deal with too. And like, oh man, that's all I listened to this year was Embrace and De La Soul, which is great. Half of that's great, but
nice. All right, Allan, what's your?
Let's go with this one. Let's take out the plastic sleeve. All right, so before we were live, I mentioned that a friend of ours, a friend of the show, Justin Briggs of Warthog Speak Records and Fatigue, and he's in a new band called The Government around here. He recently opened a brand new record store in Oakland called Moving Records. It's a couple of blocks from well, maybe half a mile from where I live.
Cool.
Anyway, they had the grand opening a couple of weeks ago. There was a good crew out for the grand opening. The store looks really good. Really great selection. Nicely, not too curated, but nicely curated. There's a lot of good stuff in there, and I'm sure they'll keep adding more stuff to it. So if anyone's in the Oakland area, Moving Records. All right, so that's sorted. Get that.
You earned your 10% discount.
Go in tomorrow and get it. Nice little sweetener. No, anyway, I was in there last week and I picked up this record, which I previously hadn't heard, but I knew of the band. Or maybe along the way I've probably heard a song or two or whatever of this band, just because we're surrounded by music all the time, right? But I was aware of the band because a friend of mine had a leather jacket with the band name written on the back of it, which is an unusual. So I was like, oh yeah, that band. But it's an unusual thing. It was an unusual thing to have on the back of a leather jacket. It was not because it's not Rotten or Discharge or whatever. It's like, the name. When you see the name, you'll be like, well, that's a weird thing to have on the back of a jacket. It's a pretty obscure band. They're a German band. Anyone? So,
any guesses?
German band, back of a leather jacket. Any no guesses? Paul, you might be thinking of something.
Sperm birds.
No,
not sperm birds. I think we've had sperm birds on here before.
Yeah.
It's not sperm birds.
Well, let's not go through all the German.
We'll go through all the German bands. So it's,
I wouldn't have got that.
Barken und die Milch. I don't know if that happened. My pronunciation is probably terrible. Barken und die Milchbubis.
Wow.
This is on. I don't even know what label this is on.
Is that a kids record?
It's not. And I guess I think the title is Bum.
Oh, there you go.
It's an airplane party.
This is I think they call this type of stuff Neue Deutsche Welle or German New Wave.
Yes.
It's the person who had it on the back of her jacket is my friend Jess Scott, who was in Flesh World and Burning Colors and all of that. But this is it's right up my Strasse, as they say. Sort of post-punk, arty post-punk, kind of Kleenex raincoatsy, but maybe a lot more polished, maybe somewhere along the sort of lines of maybe Pylon or something like that. So more on the Neue Welle end than the whatever the opposite of that would be, new wave-ish end. But raw, rough. From 79, or I think this record's from 81. Band was from 79 till 83. This is their only LP, I think. There's a couple of singles. Worth checking out.
That was written on the back of her jacket?
Yeah, Barker.
I want to see a picture of this jacket. That's what I can't see.
Was it a new jacket or an old jacket?
You know what? I can't remember. It's been a long time. She moved to LA like 10 years ago. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen this jacket in a really long time.
If you see someone walking around, there can't be anyone else in the world with that written on the back of
I'd be almost certain. Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah. Great record. I was really happy to see it. It was in the front of the bin, and I'd been passed up by a lot of people, and so I was like, I'm having that.
It was on No Fun Records.
No Fun Records. There it is. Yeah.
Right. What does the name mean? Or never mind. Gherkin.
Milk.
Gherkin to gherkin.
This is milk.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
This is, I'm going to guess, boobies. I don't know, maybe if there's Dan Macht S Bum is the name of the LP. Yes, that answers.
Yes.
Yeah. It says it, yeah. If there's anyone,
And Germans in the chat.
a translation of the name. I think it probably means like the gherkin in German.
And it's new wave.
I mean, it's not like.
There we go. Thanks, man. Bears and the Milk Boys.
Bears and the Milk Boys.
You were close.
Yeah, I got the milk.
I mean, milk boobies is.
That's a different podcast.
Bears and the Milk Boobies. Yeah.
Yeah, it's punk. It's it's not as when you say it like new wave. It's not like too slick and polished. It's maybe I'd say it's slightly more slick and polished than Kleenex, but not like it doesn't go into sort of cheesy territory.
I love like new wave, mod revival, like all that stuff. Fucking
yeah, it's not mod.
It's not. Well, I mean, I'm just saying like of the lighter side of things.
Yeah.
When you say it's not punk, like you're
no, it is punk. It is punk. It's definitely punk.
Or not?
No, it is.
It is.
I'm nodding. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not.
Yeah.
Das ist punk. Huh?
Das ist punk. Milk boobies as punk.
Beautiful. Mikey, do you want to field this question from the chat about the Loans record? Or?
I saw that. I mean, we weren't
self-respect.
We were never asked, and also all the good ones were already done by the time we were kind of a band. So
you could have done Adios Amigos or something.
Yeah, we could have done Acid Eaters, like our take on their take of the.
You should have done one of the comp albums of just all their singles, and that you can just redo all the good songs.
That's actually pretty. Yeah, that's pretty great. The Parasites got to do. Before I was in the band, they did It's Alive, and that was like their way of getting to do the other good the good songs that were already done. I mean, my favorite of that entire series is we were just listening to it in the van the other day. Vindictive's doing Leave Home, which they rearranged all the songs. It's a different track order. They completely made it their own, and it's fucking awesome. I mean, it's a Marmite thing where, I mean, people either love that fucking record or absolutely fucking hate their version of that record.
I've never heard it because I just didn't want another.
Yeah, same. I
want it.
I've literally never listened to anyone's.
You should check it out. I mean, it's
that one's. Now I'm intrigued. Yeah.
If you know what the Vindictive sound like, they're an acquired taste anyway. Like the singer has a very gravelly
I like the Vindictives. I just haven't listened to it anymore.
So they did them doing Leave Home. They made it their own record. It sounds like a Vindictives record. It's fucking awesome.
I feel like if you like the Dead Kennedys and you like the Crucifix, then the Vindictives or No Milk on Tuesday, like all those bands fit into that. Like,
yeah,
their voices are the cilantro of punk rock, right?
Yeah. Yep. There is an acoustic Ramones Ergs medley that Jeff and I just did. It's out there on the internet somewhere. It was just something that we thought was fun to put together. So there is. It's out there. We do love the Ramones. We do cover the Ramones every chance. We played at Punk Rock Raduno in Italy this past summer, and it was us. And like, I mean, basically every band there, they basically worship the Ramones, and the European pop punk scene really just worships the Ramones with good reason. So we got up on stage. We were like, we got to do a Ramones song. What are we gonna? We just like pulled Commando out of our asses, and it was pretty awesome. It was a fun time.
All right.
You pulled Arnold Schwarzenegger out of your butthole?
Yeah, we did. Yes.
All right. Mikey, we're on round 2, right? Second pick.
All right, yeah.
It's gonna be a long night.
All right.
And it's
I'm
the
gonna
big
go- I'm gonna go punk adjacent ish.
Oh.
This is a reissue of John Cale's Paris 1919. Another record I'm just completely fucking embarrassed that I've like never listened to before now. Like, got into the Velvet Underground as a teenager, like never bothered checking out any of like other than Lou Reed's solo stuff, like never checked out anything. This is just such a beautiful record. It's beautifully recorded. This reissue it was mastered by Heba Kadri. She's just this amazing mastering engineer. It's like one of the best sounding records I've ever heard.
Nice.
And this particular pressing of it is incredible. So yeah, I just, another, like, I'm embarrassed that I just never checked this out before. There's too much music.
There
Really is.
should be some sort of laws put in place.
Come on. Like, yeah, I almost like, it's funny that.
Oh, making more then.
Yeah. Now that everything is so accessible, it's almost like more overwhelming. It
is actually, even
Yeah.
just going back and finding out things that you didn't hear the first round. That's it. Itself is a full-time job.
Yeah,
Never mind all the new stuff.
And like that's what I kind of use these reissues as like, I never checked that out. Let me buy this reissue of this and like check it out. It's because it has a way of just like weeding out like some of the other stuff that maybe you don't need to pay attention to or whatever. I don't know, but like it's nice or with reissues, it's nice to like get something that like pushed into the front of your mind again. And be like, oh,
Right.
I never got to check that out. Like, let me spend some time on this,
Yeah, I've only got the one with the sort of his melting face on it, which might be a late one.
I think they just reissued that as well. I think maybe I'm thinking of the right one, and I bought it. I can't find it now, but
I forget what that one's called actually. Melting
Where
face.
is the wizard?
no, the melting faces. No, yeah, I think they might have just reissued that one too. But that's something that's been like in my eardrums for the last like 2 weeks. I just can't stop listening to it.
I've actually never heard that either. I'm gonna have to
Me neither.
It's definitely more of it's a pretty mellow pop record, but like it's
But I
really
mean,
great.
I totally get what you're saying because being obviously being in the Velvet Underground, but like then not branching out and listening like even bands like I really like their earlier stuff. I don't listen to the later stuff or I don't listen to the side projects.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, okay, I've got enough with this. This is good enough. And then later on you do listen, you're like, oh, kicking yourself because you should like.
And I do try to be good about that. I try to listen to like the solo records of the guy from the band that I really like or whatever. But there's when you have 4 different members making the solo record, it's just hard to check it all out. But like, there's something that I should have. And I know that it's kind of a classic record, and I should have checked it out. But
I mean, some of the problems with solo records is that you're like, man, that guy should do a record on his own, and then you realize, like, oh no, those other guys are holding that guy in check.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, honestly, even I'm a huge Beatles fan, but there's like the reason those Beatles records are so good is because they were checking each other.
Yeah, in a way. But it's also funny what you just said about that record, like, or it's a classic record. I should have checked it out. It's such a classic record. But a lot of times, like, sometimes that's I don't check stuff out because it's classic. I'm like, all right, whatever. I'll get to that eventually because it's classic. It's around, but like, I want to check out this other stuff that.
Right.
Maybe it isn't as classic.
Absolutely, yeah.
Totally. I mean, we're swimming in a massive ocean of music.
Yeah,
and it's impossible. And it's actually depressing if you stop to think about it. You're like, I'm not gonna. There's going to be stuff that you'll love, and you'll never hear it.
Right.
Yes.
And you can hear it, it might be something that if you heard it, it would blow your mind, open up your whole world, whatever, and it might just that might just swim past you and you'll never hear it. And that's like,
I'm liking this ocean.
Well, it is kind of depressing, yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Santa Claus. Like,
I know, sorry.
No, I get it, but that's why we keep.
That's why we try to
keep searching, keep swimming.
Keep swimming.
Paul, what's your next pick?
Well, great. After that, I'm not going to do that one "No Means No" cover with the record with the guy hanging himself on it. So I'm going to set that. I kind of want to talk about a little bit of the area where Allan lives, right? Like, I want to talk like Lookout Records. Everybody like people love or hate Lookout Records, and it's usually for Green Day or Operation Ivy, and they forget that there is this whole like great net pantheon of things that came from that area on that label, and Very Small and Allied that came out of that area. And Lookout in particular had like Neurosis, right? Like they had so many great. I think the first like Plaid Retina record, which is like the extreme like math rocky stuff of like insane greatness. Plaid Retina was on there. One of the bands though that I think, talking about gray skies again, and encapsulated the most like Midwest feel of that I latched onto was Nuisance. And they just came out with this Terminal Fuck Ups record, which is all of their B-sides and rarities from all of the 7-inches. Are you guys familiar with Nuisance at all?
Yeah, I didn't know about them until they did that lookouting thing a few years ago. Like, it was like a reunion show that someone put together, and Nuisance played, and I was like, I never heard Nuisance. Like, I wonder what they sound like. And they're kind of like, I don't know, Dinosaur Jr. or something. Like they're like,
they've got a
definitely like an indie rock type.
Indie punk feel.
And I was like, this fucking rule. Like, I was fucking blown away by it. So I didn't know this. Did this just come out? This record?
It came out within this year. And
okay,
it's
I gotta
like,
get that.
Got, like the Curb Dog 7-inch. It's got the Very Small 7-inch on it. It's got various contract things. I think it's all assembled by their drummer.
Cool.
And a couple covers and stuff that they did. But the attraction was just that gray sky, Midwest sound, overly fuzzed guitars, kind of.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite bands are just the way that the drummer and the bass player play back and forth. In fact, one of my favorite ones was a Jersey band called the Transmaghetti, and the way on their second record, the drummer and the bass player just played together, and the singers and guitar players did their shit. But you could hear like the way that they did their things to articulate other parts of the song and their own parts. That Nuisance did that flawlessly while still making it seem just full and sad, but still with a little hope.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And it's a double LP, ABCD. Yeah, 14 tracks, and it's terrific, and I believe available still. I don't think
have the split LP with the Logical Nonsense tracks on it. It probably doesn't. I want to say.
I don't know if that was them.
Was that a different Nuisance?
No, I don't. You might have something different, but I think the Logical Nonsense split. I don't think 23 more minutes.
23 more minutes.
Yeah,
my bad.
Similar in sound, but these guys just fulfilled that hollow grayness that the Midwest has, and I can't believe they're from California, but they were from Northern California, which makes more sense, I guess, because. Eureka, I found it. They're all up in Humboldt County, which I think there's a Sun God Harvest Time. Yeah, there's some references to, I think, The Kind Bud on here. But the song Lying Fucks and Sweet Bird of Youth, all incredible. And seeing them the few times that I did in various basements, actually one of my favorite times seeing them is they were staying over at Joel Wick's house. And we were like, where are you guys going tomorrow? And this is pre-internet, so we didn't know what shows were happening even 3 hours away. And they're like, oh, we're going to Chicago to play with Friction and Jawbreaker. you guys want to go? And we're like, yeah, we're fucking gonna go.
Yeah.
At the Dummy Room, Joy Vindictive's place. So,
oh wow, nice.
Yeah. Again, Nuisance.
Tapestry.
What?
The Tapestry again.
It's a tapestry.
I just looked at it. So yeah, that's on Lava Shock. Like, and they reissued the first, I think, Nuisance record in a
Confusion
remix,
Hill?
and
Yeah,
and it's fucking so good. Yeah, that was like the, after I found out about them, that had come out like fairly soon after that, and I was like, okay, cool. I'll get this.
I feel
cool
like
remix.
the popularity of bands like like some of those Chuck Reagan bands and I don't know, sort of like, do you know what I'm saying? There's a Jersey band like I cannot think of the name of them right now. Anyway, I feel like Nuisance would be a household name if they would have come out within the last 10, 15 years versus like 30 years ago.
Right.
That's my pick, man.
Nice, man. Cheers.
Allan, did you ever get a chance to see them?
No, I think by the time I moved here, that was pretty much. By the time I moved here, a lot of that scene was kind of done, like kind of the tail end, 94, 95, and like Jawbreaker were still going in J Church, but a lot of that, like obviously Up Ivy, Crimp Shrine, or whatever that was all past Nuisance. Yeah. But there's a thing I'm going to on Sunday. So a photographer from here, Murray Bowles, that documented all.
My book is in the mail right now.
Right, yeah. So the book launches on Sunday. So
I got to get that book.
Yeah, my friend Anna that helped that kind of compiled it all. Is throwing a book launch on Sunday, and I'm sure all those people, the ones that are still alive, will probably still
yeah, that's awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, let's take this out of 1992 for the next pick, shall we?
Yeah.
Is it? I don't know.
Yeah, Jordan. Of course it is.
What do you expect? All right, so like a couple of episodes back, man, this is like an endless, like the Jeff Burke quest that like never ends. It's endless. Jeff Burke, Mark Men, Radioactivity, many other bands, the Reds. Episode 93, I was talking about the Lost Balloons, which is one of his bands that I'd never heard before. And I couldn't believe how amazing that record. It was the second record, like the second Lost Balloons album. But I was like, this is kind of different to the other like Jeff Burke bands. And then of course I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, it's his band with
Yusuke,
right? Yusuke.
Yep.
And then you realize that it's basically him, right? It's like totally a Yusuke Okada band, right? So I was like, okay, let's check out what this guy's been doing. So I was like, okay, fuck yeah, of course he was in Blotto, right? Who I already was familiar with Blotto. And I was like, Suspicious. I've never ever heard of the Suspicious Beasts, which is his other kind of main band, right? So I was like, let's get on Disc Union. Let's see if there's any Suspicious Beast records. They had all 3 LPs for like 600 yen. So I was like, bang, 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 bang. And I got all 3 of them like on the same day. And was just like blown away by how amazing they are. So I'm just going to show all of them. This is the first LP, just Suspicious Beasts. Used to Be Beautiful. Second LP, Never Bloom. This is my pick. I'm gonna choose this one as my actual. This is the third LP. Might Die Tomorrow. Man, it's like, okay, I guess I have to kind of say what it sounds like, right? But it's like 60s. It's basically like garage punk, but like so like 60s like psychedelic pop influenced, like garage, jangly guitars, bit psychedelic. I've seen them compared to sort of the OCs. I'm not too familiar with the OCs, so I'm not really sure. But man, what an amazing like songwriter that guy is.
Yeah.
Like, every song's like a hit that could have been on a lost tape from like the 60s, or it is kind of like Big Star, but like punked up. Kind of Big Star, Alex Chilton.
That's amazing.
That sounds. Yeah. This is I hear like Guilty as Charged, right? I love obviously everything Jeff has been involved in. Love that the two Lost Balloons records I've got. And I didn't realize that there was a Blotto connection. I have all these Blotto records, but I've never gone and looked up and checked out.
You probably could have got these for like a few dollars each when you were over here, you know.
I was over there, I know.
But I didn't know about this band either. It was just the fact that Lost Balloons record was like so different to the Mark Men. I was like, there must be a reason for this. And it's because of Yusuke from. I was like, let's see what he's done. Then it led me to this. So yeah.
And I mean, the thing is, they played here. Like, I think Yusuke was here and Lost Balloons played, right? And Tim's on the chat. He can tell me because I was pretty sure.
Yeah, probably because he spends a lot of time in the States. So
I feel like I remember seeing them, but I still never went the extra mile of or the extra whatever it would have been 2 minutes of a search on
Yeah.
I didn't know until literally until I got that Lost Balloons record. I had no idea either. So yeah. He does all the artwork as well. He does everything.
Yeah. He's great.
Yeah. And I was going to say this, and I don't want people to take this wrong. Often with the sort of the more melodic Japanese bands, vocals don't do a lot for me. They're a bit reedy, and the accent sometimes gets in the way. But this guy's vocals are really, really great. It doesn't distract from the record at all. The vocals actually make it even better.
If you had to put this in a category, what school would Ozzy Osbourne be in?
I don't know. Let's say, imagine he was sort of working at a sort of flea market in Osaka in 1968, peddling tie-dye goods.
School of Hard Knocks is what you're saying. Ozzy Osbourne, School of Hard Knocks vocals.
No. But check them out this is basically, it's Yusuke's band. But when you listen to the Lost Balloon and you listen to this, you're like, okay, now I understand why the Lost Balloons sound the way they do. It's this guy, right? So
that's awesome.
Yeah, there you go. And the Novice too. He was in the Novice too, right? Was Jeff in the Novice? Was Yusuke in the Novice? I don't know.
Yusuke, I think.
Yusuke was in the Novice too. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. McNaughton.
All right. I was almost going to go with a reissue, but I don't want to take us back to 1992. So I'll go with this group that contains people who definitely were active in 1992 and before, but are absolutely current right now. Just played in San Francisco a couple months ago, and it started off as a pandemic project for a couple of people, I think, and then expanded into a full band that now records and plays live and everything. So it's got some famous faces from the indie pop scene in the UK, from the late 80s, early 90s, people from Tallulah Gosh, from Heavenly, from the Pooh Sticks, from the Dentists, Medway band. So this band is called Swansea Sound. Sorry about the glare.
There you go.
What is it called?
Swansea Sound. You can actually read it better on the back. They got their name from a local radio station, like the Swansea radio station.
I was going to say, Swansea is
I was going to say, are they from Wales?
The singer is from Wales. So the singer is Hugh Williams, who was in the Pooh Sticks.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Great.
Yeah.
Really, I mean,
I fucking love that band.
Lyrically, just lyrically sharp and amazing. Anyway, he sings in Swansea Sound. Given all of the sort of indie pop people or whatever that are involved, you'd think it's going to be really twee and poppy. It's actually pretty punk. And when they play, live, this is a bit of a plug. Neutrals played with them, and it was a really good mix, a really good match, because I think that because they're punk. not you know, but yeah, really good songs, really good lyrics, sharp lyrics from people that have been around a long. I think actually, and Rob on bass and guitar is from Heavenly. Amelia from Heavenly also plays on here and sings.
Wow.
And I think it's actually Rob from Heavenly who writes the songs, and everyone performs. But the lyrics are from a position of people who have been around and know what they're doing, and that's it's like you can just tell like they know how to write songs, they know what they're doing, and they're not
like folks from around 1992.
Possibly that. But the songs. I mean, I don't know if I'm not doing a great job of explaining it, but the songs they reflect the feelings of people our age. Maybe I don't know. It's like
exactly. I like it. I get it.
They're smart and like dealing with life as we all deal with it now in the world we're in now. And
you had me at Heavenly and Poo Sticks. Like
totally. Yeah. But yeah, definitely. This is their first album, and there's a new one that's out more recently that they had sold out of when I saw them. So I have to pick that up. But yeah, they great band.
Nice.
Great band, great look, great sound. They're going places.
It's a good name. Is there a band called Norfolk Digital out there yet?
that could be our band, our cover band, our Swansea Sound cover band.
Nice. Yeah.
I get the reference.
That's a great All right.
Is that available in the States or you?
This one was actually put out by in the States. It was put out by HHBTM Records. Happy Birthday to Me. So this one should be available from them in the States, and then the newest one, the band have their own label called Skepwax, and the new one is definitely available from Jigsaw Records in Portland.
Okay.
Oh
yeah.
There you go. Jigsaw. All
right. What's that guy's name? I remember him. He's at every Oakland weekend.
Yeah. Oh man, now you've stumped me on live television.
That's
I'm terrible at names. I know the guy. I see I see him all the time, and now you've stumped me.
Let us know in the comments. What's the name of the guy who
runs Jigsaw? Chris
is his name.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chris.
Salute to Jigsaw Records in Portland. All right, Mikey, what's your third?
All right.
My next pick is this was a Record Store Day release this year. The Digits. The first LP is a best of the Digits, which is, of course, the best of the Digits is all of their albums. But it's a good compilation. But the thing I really love about this is there's a second disc called "Bring Me the Head of Jaco Pastorius."
Fuck yeah!
And it's like all proto Digits stuff, and some of it is like fucking sounds like them like doing Devo worship. Like it's some of the best songs I've ever heard are on this like second disc, and it's like only available as a part of this double disc like Record Store Day thing. It's like a crime that like these songs are, I don't even think they're streaming. It's very annoying, but it's like I'm trying to like anybody I can find. I'm just like find this double LP and just listen to the second disc. Like the first disc is great, but all those songs. This is like an incredible collection of like demos and like early like pre-Digits demo tapes and shit that like,
Wow.
it's just such good songs.
I hate that.
I guess they were a band called UXB before they were the Digits, and so this is a lot of UXB stuff, and it's fucking incredible. It's like some of the best stuff
off Record Store Day. I was like, "There's no way they will ever release anything that I will ever want."
Yeah,
that
I know. Oh, and that was like the main. I was on tour with Doc Hopper on when Record Store Day happened, and we played in Portland, Maine. And there's a record store called Bull Moose in Portland, Maine that like, I think they kind of had a hand in starting Record Store Day, but they always participate. And so the second we got off stage, I just like packed my guitar up, threw it in the van, and then ran over to Bull Moose to be like first in line. I was not first in line. I was like 20th in line, but I was like, if I miss this Digits record, I'm going to fucking kill myself. So I got the one copy that was left of the Digits record.
That's funny because when that came out, I was looking for it too, or anyway, and it had already gone. But the thing that happened was there was a bunch of other older Digits records that had come up for sale used. So I was like, it was kind of worth searching this union to see if they had that because
I think it at this point I think they either did another pressing or maybe they just like wide released some of the copies that they had, but like I think it's a little bit easier to find now, but yeah, it's so worth trying to seek it out because like their pre-Digits rarities are better than most bands albums.
When you said like Devo Worship,
yeah, there's
a area of like Ohio, Indiana, well, Devo, but like Indiana and all that was doing synth stuff that was just shitty but like, amazing because
it's like synth-y, but also just like kind of like angular, like Devo-y, you know, like it's really good. It doesn't sound like the Digits really. It's like less kind of rock and more just kind of just weird.
I think the
it's
Digits
just weirder.
Got better. I think the Digits got better.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean
usually work that way, but they got like harder and faster and like better as they kind of went along. So
and tight. It's like tighter. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
They're so good.
Damn it.
All right. Cool.
You'll find it.
You'll find it. Don't worry.
So, all right. Let's talk about people that were punk rockers that ran for mayor. The Wards in Maine against Bernie Sanders. They ran as a band against Bernie Sanders. Jello Biafra, who also did.
Doc Dart from the Crucifix.
Doc Dart.
Oh, yeah.
Also, anybody get this? Southern California, Chula Vista, Bob Barley. He ran a record label called Vinyl Communications. You guys familiar with this?
Chula Vista.
Yeah. Heroin Records put out.
He became mayor, right?
What?
He actually became mayor, didn't he?
No, he lost. He was like one of 26 nuisance candidates supported by the Green Party. And but amazingly about him, he was also like he'd been like a plumber since he was 17. So he's like total like a tradesman at school, which is it's rare to find like a punk rock guy who can put his money where his mouth is, right? Like we're all like, oh, fuck the system, build your own DIY. Oh, my toilet's broke. I gotta call somebody for $100 an hour to come and like replace the gasket or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but like he like knows his shit.
Yeah. He knows his way around. He knows his way around the pub range.
Yeah. In fact, one of the podcasts I think I was listening to, he went up to see Operation Ivy played his garage, and then his band Neighborhood Watch had to go up, and they played with Op Ivy at Gilman, and he fucking repaired the toilets and did shit like that, and then went out to some like suburban home and was there on a call and did some shit out there. Whatever. As the story goes, like, are you guys familiar with Vinyl Communications?
I remember the ad to Maximum Rock and Roll. I remember like Chula Vista, right? You said.
Yeah. So Lanton, J Church, Cringer, all of the Cringer records were basically, except for the one on Lookout, are all on Vinyl Communications.
Okay.
Sam McPheeters had a lot to do with his Men's Recovery Project. had a lot to do with
Tit Wrench.
with
Tit
Bob
Wrench.
Marley and say that again.
Tit Wrench. The band called Tit Wrench.
Oh, that's his pick.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Whoa! Look at that.
Yeah,
You missed
so-
my pun. You missed my joke earlier when you said he was a plumber, and I said he knows his way around the tit wrench.
Yeah, a tit wrench is just a tool it's a multi-tool for plumbers that they use for unclogging things and getting all of stuffs out of things. I went down a rabbit hole recently when I
can rewind it and see that I did call it like 5 minutes ago when I mentioned tit wrench 5 minutes ago.
I missed it.
All right, it's the accent, you know what I mean?
So
no, it's great. That band's great.
Yeah. So I first heard them. It must have been they were on a 10-inch with a band with a comp out of I think it was their first release. A comp. They were Descent. The band Descent and the Libido Boys.
Yeah.
They had a label and they put out a comp that had Tit Wrench on it, Descent, Libido Boys, Crib Death.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
I think the Instigators were on that record.
I have a 10-inch. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful 10-inch. It's one of the first multicolored vinyl records I'd ever seen. Also, but
yeah, it's a good one.
It's the first time that I'd heard synthesizers and noise at such a point that it was almost going to shatter mirrors, and at such a velocity, it was just unrelenting all the way through. And I was like, I have to get everything by this band, who has done splits with Dead Silence. They've got multiple records out. They've got go back to people like that should be Spade.
Yeah.
There's a great podcast of him talking about all of the weird stuff that they got into. Fighting the Ku Klux Klan on the Mexican border and shit like that as a kid.
They reminded me of Lard. Remember the Gel Biafra? Speaking of people running,
the
Gel Biafra project with Revolting Cops and Ministry.
Yeah,
Lard. That's what Tit Wrench makes. I think Tit Wrench probably predated that, but
exactly the same kind of thing.
At the same time,
Jello came down to support him on his mayoral candidacy. Where he went for that. He was talking like his first sampler was like $1,500, and people from like Struggle and Heroin like went on tour. Not people on heroin, people from the band Heroin. Like I don't know what their personal lives are like, but I just want to make it clear I'm talking about the band. Went on tour with him, and he was talking about how the drummer would play a toilet in the way that they would hook just trigger pads up to a toilet, and he would hit the toilet for the cymbals, drums, and all that. But he would literally just play a toilet when they would go play live places.
And then they would repair it.
And then he would repair it. And then everybody would poop in it, and then they'd set it on fire. And it was a great conflagration. But yeah, this if anybody's into crazy noise synth,
but it's the thing about it is like when you say crazy noise synth, that can nowadays that means that can mean a lot of different stuff because it goes into like noise music, right? Where it's like but it's like it is what you said, but they have actual songs. Like there's a beginning, middle, and an end. There's lyrics. There's like, but it's chaotic, totally. Yeah.
Like Life Sucks Doomy, Pitbull with AIDS, The Violent Flame. Let's see what else is on here. All I can say is that this came out in 94, but the first records came out in 89 or 90 and then progressed to get. Actually, they had the same level. They never really changed in what they were doing the entire way. And it's been brilliant. I don't know what else to say. I went down this rabbit hole and I was actually turned on to this. Well, I fell back down this rabbit hole because a friend of mine got sick a while ago, like 10 years ago, and they still don't know what's wrong with him, but he's still very sick. But as a booster, I started to make CDs for him of everything that I have in 7 inches from the 80s through 89. And I got to the R's and I got to Rancid Hellspawn. And if you know that band, it's just insane synth driving, poppy, weird, melodic. Like, why is this shattering, like giving me tinnitus as I'm listening to it, but I also can't stop listening to it because it's so high and just scratchy. It's like take Psycho Candy from the Jesus and Mary Chain and boost all of the distortion That's Rancid Hellspawn. And then that reminded me of this. It was like, oh, that's the same direction, but a little bit more electronic and synthier.
I remember Rancid Hellspawn from London, right? It's one guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say. I talk a lot on this. Talk fast.
I didn't like that then, but I would like it now. I think I'm sort of now that I'm used to sort of more different kinds of music.
And guess what, Jordan? This is from '94. Just kidding.
Okay, round 4. Here we go. Cheers, everyone. Having a good time.
Cheers.
I do try and find like old cheap records that people should get back into versus just
out there.
Everybody talks about the new stuff coming out, and like you said, there's such a volume of it. It's like the amount of gallons going over like whatever waterfall you want.
Everything, old stuff, new stuff, classic stuff, unheard stuff, all the things.
I always hit the dollar bins. I'm here for my people. Song is for my people, and this voice is free.
If I say to you or anybody, Nigeria, sort of 1997, 1978. Probably you're going to sort of say like Fela Kuti will probably be the first name.
That's exactly what I would say.
You would say that, right? I would say that too, probably. Or you might say Tony Allen, another big one. One of the best drummers ever to grace this earth. Or you might even say King Sunny Ade, the master. Look at that.
That has been partied on.
That's been like this. It's got Yaba in Nigeria, like $7 Nigerian. This is what you call a beta copy.
That's a beater copy.
This
yes,
has been enjoyed by many people and by me. Anyway, I'm not talking about King Sunny Ade today. I love King Sunny Ade, but I'm going to talk about a band that maybe actually might have even been more popular than Tony Allen and King Sunny Ade. Maybe, I'm not sure. They had some traction back in the day. 2 twin sisters from the 70s made 4 fucking incredible records back then. Just look at this. Check it out. Look at that.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah. It's the Lijadu sisters. Lijadu means sunshine, I think. Danger. Look at that.
I would buy that. Like, I wouldn't even have to hear it. Like, I would see that cover. And
so I did. And you know what? Like, a lot of people like Fela Kuti, but basically his records are like 2 long songs, right? Very jammy. It takes a while to get going. I love that stuff. Lots of horns. This is not like that. These are sort of compact songs, almost like pop songs. With that kind of funky Afro-beat with some kind of soul influences. But the thing that, look at this, check out, I love these pictures, like the twin sisters. It's kind of really, you'll see modern reviews of this sort of throwing the word punk around, and it does have a vibe because of the vocals. They're very sort of disinterested and sort of bored sounding, almost sing kind of vocals, which is kind of unusual. They're not like soulful or kind of, dramatic. They're just almost speaking over these sort of Afro beats. And it does sound a bit like post-punk vocals.
Sounds awesome.
Kind of. Oh, man. This is the best group ever from Nigeria, in my opinion. There's like...
What's the name of the group again?
The Lijadu sisters. Now, these are all from like the 70s. They all got reissued once by Knitting Factory.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
In like 2011, but they haven't been reissued since. This one has been reissued. This is their 5th record. This has just been reissued again. This is amazing too.
All right.
And that one looked like Siamese twins.
Twin sisters. One of them passed away. They're actually kind of quite famous because like when I was looking them up, there's like articles in the Guardian and stuff about them. And they moved to the States after their 2nd record, so they were kind of based in the States and. They were kind of playing with Ginger Baker's band for a while, like singing and stuff. But I don't want to focus on Ginger Baker. Everyone knows Ginger Baker. So let's focus on like the Lijadu sisters, and their music. Unbelievable. It's got like there's not too many horns in it. There's that like super cheap, distorted sort of organ, bumblebee guitar, like lots of like psychedelic guitar solos, which almost kind of sounds a bit like Zamrocky as well.
Did they play too, or just?
Yeah.
Like...
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Man, check them out. I can't recommend this group enough. It's absolutely amazing. And if you can, honestly, I know I'm cheating a bit here. I'm showing a lot there. This is the one.
Man. Do whatever you want. Take your shirt off.
It's my show. So this is the one you want, actually. This one. This is a soul jazz thing. Soul Jazz Records.
Oh.
It's a double LP kind of
cool.
hits.
Oh, great.
I like how Mikey leaned in. Soul Jazz. And you're like,
Soul Jazz.
Well, I mean, I know that I'll be able to get that. So
Yeah.
it's a reissue. It's really
it's a reissue.
Well, actually, this is
that's
actually
my
I mean,
but it's also it's cool that there's like a double LP, like you know. Yeah.
This is
unless you're Tim Brooks with his ambient connection, like
this is ambient connection.
like if you want African records, you pretty much like have to buy the reissues. Like,
yeah.
Honestly, if you can find one of their, like, if you see any of their records, get them. But like for the beginner, this is the one that you want.
Okay.
The greatest hits, double LP, Soul Jazz Records,
Afro-Beat Soul Sisters.
Yes, Afro. Then it's got all the liner notes. It's got songs from all their records.
You're speaking
Soul
about
Jazz. You know, it's beautifully done. You know.
Yeah.
There you go.
No, that's awesome. I gotta check that out.
And it is. I hate to use the sort of word, the punk word, when talking about records that really have nothing to do with punk, but it does have this sort of punk vibe to it, with the vocals being sort of the way they are, and
yeah,
just great, just fantastic. If you like good music, check out them.
Not for me then.
Not for you, Paul. No. It's funny they use such classic artwork that they used the same artwork right for the.
No, it's not. Yeah, it's awesome.
The complex. Yeah. It's kind of unbeatable artwork.
Yeah,
so,
I love it.
Yeah, there you go.
Brilliant.
It's not all Fela Kuti, from
no
Nigeria.
Well, I hope that Justin Briggs. I'll go and visit Justin Briggs tomorrow in his new shop, and hopefully he'll have some of those. You never know.
He might. I mean, especially this one. This is probably going to be the easiest one to find, right off the bat, because it's just been reissued.
Yeah.
Like, Numero.
Oh yeah, Numero.
Oh yeah.
That's
cool. Yeah, I mean,
if he doesn't have it, I know where I can get that for sure.
Man.
It's funny that Numero's been focusing a lot on Midwest emo.
I know.
That's pretty sweet, actually.
Wow.
I didn't think I'd get a Boilermaker box set, but here we are. I guess that's happening.
Interesting. I know.
They didn't think you'd get that. Let's be honest.
They put so much. I love their packaging. That the books that come with their records. It's just wonderful. It's like
because they started off with that History 2 one, right?
Yeah.
The what?
Which was weird already. Them doing that.
They did the Husker Du the early Husker Du stuff.
Yeah. Then they went from there to just real weird obscure Midwest emo.
All these. Midwest emo. I was like, I didn't know anybody else knew who these bands were.
Captain Jazz. Was it Captain Jazz?
They did Everyone Asked About You, and they did all the Codeine reissues, and
well, that makes sense, right? Because Codeine
does make sense, yeah.
And then they did the
Karate. They did all the Karate record reissues.
Yeah.
So they have a love-hate relationship.
Were people begging for those reissues? Were people out there begging for those emo reissues? Apparently,
they're doing pretty well. Apparently, they're selling. So,
good for them.
And all these bands are getting back together and playing. They just did the Boys Life box set.
That's right.
And everybody.
A
bunch of people went out. Flew out to those shows. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
as long as they're having fun, good luck.
Unwound, those shows that Boys Life played, didn't Unwound and Codeine and Chisel and a bunch of those other bands play too? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. I flew out to that. They did it in LA at it actually sucked. It was this weird theater, a seated theater, and the security there was super. If you even stood up, they would pat you down and make sure you sat down. But then Unwound went on, and they were like, "Fuck this!" Everybody get up, and then everybody just kind of rushed to the front of the theater, and then it became a punk show after that. But it was kind of a bummer for the first 3-4 bands.
Wow, weird. Yeah.
But then Unwound wasn't having it, so they're like, stand the fuck up.
Anybody from
they
Numero
hate it.
who's watching this right now, I just want to say I got a lot of tapes from a couple bands I was in. If you want to do any box sets, like what bands you're putting out, no one's heard of. I got a lot of those that I was in, so I'm ready. Like whenever you're into it.
Maybe Chris from Jigsaw Records might be interested.
Yes, exactly. All right,
Alan, watch it.
Let's move on. Let's move on. So I am going back to
92.
1990.
Okay.
Yeah.
And 1988.
Oh.
This is a band that I saw a bunch back then. Weren't friends. I wasn't friends with them then or anything like that, but like they were around a lot. They came up to Glasgow a lot. Played with my friends' bands in Glasgow, and they were from Lancashire.
Oh.
And Lancashire, and they were kind of like
Pennsylvania,
noisy, sort of chaotic. 2 drummers.
Ooh. Lancashire, 2 drummers.
Definitely big fans of The Fall.
We're not talking Bastard Kestrel, are we?
We're not, but we're in the ballpark. I'm sure they played with Bastard Kestrel. They played with probably. There's a lot of flyers on. Yeah, here's a flyer right here on the insert of them with Bastard Kestrel.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
So the band is Dandelion Adventure, and this just came out. This is their Peel sessions.
Oh.
There's been like a burst of people getting access to the BBC's archives of Peel sessions, and you can license. For a long time, you couldn't. It was really difficult to do, but now the BBC are being a bit more lax about it, and you can just license tracks. You just have to pay, obviously, but you license tracks for Peel sessions. So there's tons of Peel sessions that are making.
I've noticed it seems like it was easier because those tracks have been showing up on and
all these like precious recordings of London, which didn't release this, but they've been releasing a lot of Peel sessions. This was put out by Ajay. Warner Brothers Records. Ajay was the bass player in the band, and he went on to be in a band called Donkey and a band called The Bent Mustache. He's currently we did a multi-pool. He currently performs as Bajan Boy. This is a recent record. He just toured. Just toured the US with these. On these records, but that's sort of a solo, sort of ambient, psychedelic project. But this is definitely not ambient. Dandelion Adventure, it's the opposite of ambient. It's sort of like hyper noisy, bass driven, 2 drummers.
Oh wow!
Fuzzy, distorted guitar, but rhythmic. It's a good reference point for it. I mean, the last time I was on, I talked about the Stretch Heads. There's definitely, they played with the Stretch Heads a lot. There's definitely a sort of like similarity there. Silverfish.
Question from Mr. Bear.
Some of those things.
Question time.
Yes.
Can you tell that there's 2 drummers?
Yeah,
like when you're listening to it. If you didn't know, can you tell that there's 2 drummers?
Yeah, you can. Okay. They're not. I mean, they're playing together, but like there's like the Fall records that have 2 drummers.
Yeah,
and you can definitely tell.
Yeah,
it's like that. And actually, other trivia note: one of the drummers was Mr. Jason, who played drums in the Stretch Heads, aforementioned, and Shank. The band Shank.
They just came to Japan, didn't they?
Did they? They might have. I don't know if he was there.
Okay.
Still playing with them, but he was in Shank originally.
I think they were here when you were here. Didn't remember we saw the poster when we were walking around Osaka?
We may have seen it and they were coming, but they weren't there.
Okay.
Because I would have gone to see them
You would have.
Definitely. Of course, I would have friends. I would not have skipped the show. I would have. If I'd seen you were playing, I definitely would have gone and wouldn't have gone home and gone to bed early. No way. But yeah, no, yeah, good. This is a good time capsule for me. They have a bunch of records and stuff, but this is good to hear this stuff. So yeah, A side's a Peel Session. The B side is I think some demos, early demos, including a demo of their best songs called Speed Trials, and it's on here. So yeah, Dandelion Adventure, and I mean, obviously, Peel Sessions. Whenever I see a Peel Session record, I buy it.
Yeah,
they were. I mean, they're.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
Generally speaking, it's some of the best recordings of any of those bands, especially if they've been caught during their early period, because a lot of times they're it's their first time in a really nice studio with really nice equipment and engineers that know what they're doing, so they do a good job of getting the best out of it. So like I just if you like a band, definitely get the Peel Session, but if you don't know a band, it's a good place to start if you happen to see it.
The thing that I like the best about the Peel Sessions is that there's a very iconic cover that they usually have.
Yeah.
I'm a little personally offended. I would have passed that up had you not said it.
There's
now
plenty
I have to look at every single record, but before I would just look for that. Yes,
there it is.
I just got an amazing
one. No matter what the band is,
the Jam Peel Session has the iconic cover, but they've sort of spray painted the Jam logo over the classic cover. That's one of my favorites.
That's a good one. That's but
awesome.
But those are the ones that are on Strange Fruit Records, which was John Peel's label.
Right.
Oh, okay, yeah. I actually didn't know that was John Peel's label.
Yeah.
So those are officially John Peel put those records out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Huh. That's amazing. I didn't know that either. But
no.
Even still, everybody releasing a Peel Sessions record should copy that.
Yeah,
I agree.
Totally.
And I'm sorry, Mike. I just ran right over you. What were you going to say?
Nothing.
No,
Some bands have done it. Some bands have done pastiches of that.
Yeah.
And I feel like I would, I never did a Peel Session, but if I'd had and it came out on a different label than that, I would still want to do that kind of cover for sure.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
Right. Nice. All right, Mikey, what's your?
All right. So we're at the section where these are reissues, but I'm liking the bonus discs of these reissues. So as with the last one, this is Ween's Chocolate and Cheese. Just got reissued.
I fucking love it.
Is YouTube gonna?
I think we're far enough into the show now that we can get away with it.
Past the watershed.
This is the double LP reissue, but there's a third disc that is just back. I hesitate to say outtakes because they were just kind of fucking recording shit in their fucking garage, but the bonus disc of this is as good, if not better, than the album. And this is probably my favorite Ween record. And I just cannot stop listening to this bonus disc of stuff that was never out, 14 songs that I've never heard before, that are just of the same quality as the album. And I feel very lucky that we're in an era that they're just putting out the outtakes that you never thought you'd get to hear, and it's cool that it's on a triple LP, and the double LP of the actual record is a new, really good sounding remaster of the album. So it's just a very amazing triple LP reissue of that record, but the bonus disc is what I've been going back to, because it's just more of the same of that era of incredible Ween stuff.
Where were you when you first heard those Ween songs that are made?
Well, the first time I heard them was on Beavis and Butthead.
Sure.
When Push the Little
Most of
Daisies.
the world heard them.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, this is my shit. And then I bought Pure Guava, and that is a very, very strange record for I think 12-year-old kid or 13-year-old kid at the time to hear. And it kind of just blew my mind wide open. And then Chocolate and Cheese was the next new album. I don't know that I knew to go back to check out like what they had done previously, or if I even knew that they had anything previously, but I knew there was a new Ween album. And so I bought the new Ween album when it came out, and that just blew me away. And then I stuck with them after that. But so it's cool to one of the good thing about getting older is you get the 20th anniversary edition of the or the 30th anniversary edition of the album you bought when it first came out, and you're like, oh, I get to hear the outtakes finally.
Oh, but also there's something like oddly transportive about those records that it's like, oh yeah, I remember the way it brings you back to that time and space and smell of things that were going on.
Yeah. Brings me back to my bedroom, just like throwing on the CD of Chocolate and Cheese and just like,
There's one thing I'm going to do when I get older is I'm going to fucking smash hey, or like whatever was going on when I first heard it. Right? Yep. You're like, yeah. And now your priorities have changed, and it's like this should be a B. Why don't you get a C on that algebra test or whatever?
Check this out.
Yep.
This is great. We got Daniel, the super chat. Super chat's open, everybody. If you want to throw us some money, super chat.
Oh, amazing! Thank you.
Crush.
I was just when I was refiling all my records. Hey Suburbia out of Italy just reissued like a few months ago. Reissued Crush Boyfriend Heartbreak, and
there you go.
It's cool to have that on vinyl for the first time ever. So. It's like, oh, cool.
I never got into Ween. I like I heard them on John Peel.
They're a Marmite band.
Yeah,
I like Marmite, but
I kind of lumped them in. Also with was it Pretty Flowers? Because they were kind of weird, right? Like it's not pretty.
Oh, yeah.
Happy Flowers.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Happy Flowers. I really did like Happy Flowers. I thought they were hilarious, and I kind of thought of Ween as that kind of novelty thing. But they were. I didn't dislike them, but I wasn't like I didn't get into the records, whatever.
Yeah, it's definitely an acquired taste. It's brilliant, but like
loves them. Like Allan, Casamari, my old band, loves them. They played.
Oh yeah.
I think they play here like maybe they play here at New Year's, like every year, or they for a while they were doing these shows. He lives in Hawaii now. He was flying over from Hawaii for these.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
I feel like they have like a sort of almost like a Deadhead following.
It is, yeah, and that's it's almost like watching it. I mean, it is kind of like a jam band type following.
Yeah.
Even though they do certain songs they'll jam out, but it's that type of following where like people are just nuts for them and go anywhere they go.
That's all right, Paul. What you?
I'm gonna disappear for a second because I'm out of beer, but I'm listening. Okay.
Get me one.
So the last little bag of sand that I got in a record was from the yard of Gary Heidnick, who is a torture murderer, serial killer, and the band was the Serial Killers. And I never thought in my life I would never get a little bag of sand in a record again. Until I just got a record from the band Boyracer. Sent this little postcard with a bag of sand. in it.
Look at that.
Not from the yard of a serial killer, thankfully. Or unthankfully. I guess I don't know where Stewart's been, or I don't know where the band has been, and I don't know what's washed up on the shore of this ocean. But I want to talk about Seaside Riot. Wait, hold on.
Oh.
Wait. Oh, I was gonna hand it up to you.
So yeah, that's it. Yeah, we should have done that. I didn't get the Bag of Sand edition.
Oh, you missed out there, mate.
No.
I got the Bag of Sand. Well, look, I'm just happy that now I have 2 bags of sand. One from an actual murderer, one from the ocean. And you know what? The ocean is she's a harsh mistress and probably has killed lots of sailors in her time. So, but this record and Boyracer, and oh man, did you have a 6th record in case I usurped you?
Oh no, I've got like
hundreds.
Or wait, talk about it again. I might say some shit that you disagree with.
no.
Here's my favorite stuff about Boyracer is that
They've been going since '92.
Yeah, is this 1990? This record came out in 2024. Yeah. But they have probably been a band since 1990.
Oh, 80s, maybe 89 or something like that. Maybe.
Late 80s. He writes simplistically sounding songs that are complicated in all of the ways. I don't know how to say it other than that. Like his lyric style is unrelentingly and unapologetic. Just, this is what I want to say. I'm going to make it fit into these chords and these beats. And then his guitar tone on some of his records are incredible. And we talked earlier about, you know how there's some artists that can just like go off the fucking deep end. And I feel like if he didn't have, Christina, is that her name from Artsake? Yeah. If he didn't have her in the band, I feel like this might be like a weird, he would have kept progressing into more noise and more just craziness. But I feel like her and some of the people he's reintroduced back to the band in the past few years have like helped hone the sound back to this Boyracer of like completely catchy, very hummable, amazing, engaging songs with incredible lyrics. I guess I don't know how to do this. You put a guitar upside down in the sand in the ocean. So I think that a little bit speaks to where his mind is. Make your own band, take your own sand. What's up, man? I just had to figure out.
I agree. And I think definitely Christina adds like a definite sort of like balance to the songwriting and to the sound and everything, which I think she's been on the last 2 or 3 records.
Yeah.
And he's on record as saying that he was inspired to do music by hearing Jesus and Mary Chain and that wall of noise feedback. Yes. So that's obviously definitely present, but like they get lumped in with, because of the timing, they get lumped in again with a lot of that indie pop stuff that we were talking about earlier. But they've definitely got much more of a punk sound to it, or noisier, like fuzzier, more sort of like almost antagonistic, but still catchy.
100%. Yeah.
Like he just like he wants to stick 2 fingers up at the anorak wearing twee pop like bowl cut, Belle Sebastian fans. No, I'm sure he loves Belle Sebastian.
Yeah.
But like it's sort of like he just wants to sort of like noise up the tweez, and it works.
I feel like he's not afraid to write a song that says I hate my boss, and which he has, and I hate my fucking job, which he's written those songs, and then probably plays them for his boss at his job. You know what I mean? Like there's it's almost as punk in sound, like you're saying, as it is in that DIY. I mean, he had for a long time a studio that just ran on solar power, right? Like there's no more DIY that you can get than that.
Yeah.
Like when you're in the desert. Yeah, probably one of my favorite guys, one of the most intriguing songwriters I've ever listened to, because realistically, some of the stuff going on, if you're familiar with just regular songs in general, there's a complex orchestrated approach to the way that he does, or they write their songs, that sounds simple until you just try and like listen to it and you're like, wait, what is that?
I equate it to sort of a similarity, and it's not sonically, but I feel like he reminds me a lot in his songwriting of Lance Han from J Church.
Yeah.
In the way that he puts across sort of like complicated subjects.
Oh yeah.
And layered subjects in a way that comes across sort of like directly and understandably and kind of and relatably, even if you haven't experienced the same things that the singer's experiencing, you can 100% put yourself there and put yourself in the situation.
Yep.
Yeah. Or like,
and always has been able to do it.
Or like it's like like Super Chunk too. Like they're almost like a Super Chunk type.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. Yeah.
Relentless in their pursuit, but also held back enough for like, hey, we just wrote 50 songs.
I know.
Well, let's only do like let's put 12 on there, right? Because there's always the worst when you're like, come on, guys, like this could have been a single LP, or this could have been like 10 songs. Yeah, so that's my pick, and I got that bag of sand. Now I'm gonna put that next to my bag of sand from the serial killers bag of sand. Let them duke it out. I still think the ocean has more kills, but probably not as publicized as the guy from Pennsylvania. But anyway, go get him, Stu. Go get him, Boyracer. 2024, Jordan.
There you go.
And folks,
I'm gonna sort of make Nate Wilson happy for about 10 seconds before I do my my real last pick. I'm just gonna show the Black Sabbath Tony Martin years box set. I've already done a whole episode with about this, so I'm not gonna. This isn't not my pick, but just to keep Nate awake.
I've been wondering about that. I haven't. I've not gotten into the Tony Martin years, so
hey, now's your chance.
Now's the time. Reissue. Got it.
Box set. All right, my real last pick. I don't think some of you guys might like. This actually might be one of my favorite records of the year, and I didn't really see this one coming. This is definitely like a YouTube algorithm thing when their single cut came up as a video on YouTube. And I was like, man, this is really good. I like this band. I start with Feel It Records. I'm going to finish on Feel It Records, who are very prolific label. But Cincinnati, a current band from Cincinnati.
Vacation.
Close.
Oh, okay.
I wish I'd picked this earlier because I'm a little bit tipsy now, and I'm not confident I can do this record justice. But I'm talking about Artificial Go.
Hopscotch. I don't know that record.
Wow, I don't know that one. I'm usually pretty up on Feel It Records, and I guess I'm slipping.
I've got to try and describe it now. So, they've been compared to the Suburban Lawns. What about that?
Oh,
okay.
Wow.
Hasn't that band been talked about before on here?
Possibly.
Well, it's a good band.
That would have been a good. Actually, that would have been a good reference for Bachun und die Milk Tits.
There you go.
They're in the milk
back
place.
an hour.
There you go. Yeah, it's real sort of DIY art punk, jangle pop, post punk. It's very claustrophobic. It's stuff. It's like it sounds like it's like trying to get out of a box. It's like very. It gives me sort of very. It's like very taut, like tightly wound. Like it's gonna. There's a lot of tension. Do you know what I mean? It's like but it's also kind of loose as well. It's like jangly DIY, like lo-fi garage punk, minimalist. But they do a lot with a little. You think, these songs are kind of simple, but actually they're quite so complicated. And
sounds great. What did you say they're called again?
Artificial Go.
Artificial Go.
It's funny, Alan. So I was thinking this is on Feel It, but I was like, this could also be on Slumberland. Also, I was going to say, but
oh wow.
When you say jangly, do you mean like
jangly guitars? Jangly guitars, not distortion, no distortion. Clean guitars. Razor sharp, clean guitars. Very like tightly wound, but also very catchy. Great songs. Yeah. New band. They just knocked out their first album. No demos, no singles. Boom. First LP. Here it is, and it's great.
And then
really surprised me how good it was.
Cincinnati, Ohio.
Yes, the Cincinnati. I think so. Is there another Cincinnati?
Cincinnati, Belgium.
Yeah. Cincinnati.
Yeah, honestly, this is one of my most played records for the past couple of months. Love it. It's like like bands like Dry Cleaning and sort of Wet Leg, bands like that. Like imagine if they were actually sort of underground, if they were sort of real underground sort of DIY punk bands. That's sort of what they would, instead of being sort of what they are. I'm not saying I don't like those bands.
Yeah, what are the vocals like?
This is the real sort of underground, like DIY version of sort of that in a way. Well, I hope I haven't sort of put anyone off by including those bands in my description. But man, really good. Like really blew me away how great this is.
What are the vocals like?
Good question, because actually it's funny because she kind of does the disinterested thing, disinterested thing, but in a British accent. So the
Cincinnati?
It's a great song. Go on YouTube later and like put in Artificial Go in the song Payphone. It's like it's amazing. The vocals just like you'll see when you listen to it, you'll hear it. Like,
is there a expat in the group?
I think they're all from Cincinnati, as far as I can tell. Yeah, it's funny.
Cincinnati's got some good record stores and stuff, so I can see that.
Yeah,
happening.
Yeah.
Nice back cover too with the. That's my last pick. It's a great record.
Oh,
great.
Well, it sounds up my street.
I thought Allan would be very interested right off the bat.
Yeah, well, because I'm usually Feel It Records is one of my go-tos, but I guess I've been slacking. I've been really busy the last couple of months, so maybe I've missed it.
Top-notch recommendation.
Yeah. All right. So I wrote it down, so it's on the list.
It's on the list.
Maybe Justin will have it tomorrow.
Hopscotch Fever is the name of the record. There you go. All right. Allan,
all right. Okay, well, so my last pick was going to be the Boyracer, but I do have backups.
I'm sorry.
That's a song that I was talking about. Yes.
Yeah.
There you go.
So for my backups,
he just looks at me and says, "Yeah."
I could go. I'm going to like. This is like a could go either way. Do we want to go? You know what? I'm gonna.
The suspense is killing us.
This is. You guys probably both, or you probably already know this record. This is a very inexpensive record that you can get anywhere for money.
We like that.
And it's by someone who's on record as not really enjoying rock and roll.
Nate Wilson.
It's probably Nate Wilson. It's a concept album. Anyone that knows me knows that I'm a big fan of concept albums, especially concept albums about a place.
Right.
Concept album about a town.
Bruce Springsteen, Nebraska.
It's not, but this is Watertown by Frank Sinatra.
I fucking love that album.
This album,
so
right?
much.
It's fucking look and it's like I think you see the sticker here. It says like $4.99. This is like this thing is amazing. It's so layered and like I like Frank Sinatra generally anyway, but like this is Frank Sinatra as like almost like Lee Hazelwood or something like that.
I think it's one of the dudes who was working with the Four Seasons. The Four Seasons later period. There's a the Genuine Life Gazette album by the Four Seasons. I think it's the same guy who worked on that.
Right. Yeah. See, I don't know that. I know nothing about this.
He basically wrote this concept album for Frank Sinatra, and it was Frank Sinatra. Like, what is it? 69, I think.
I don't know. Actually, I think
it's the late 60s, where like Sinatra's Sinatra was like at a low point,
Okay.
and this was like his like.
He sounds like he's at a low point. Like he sounds fucking miserable on this record. Right?
It's so good though.
I'm glad you know more about it than I do. I'm glad.
Allan, address the man with the question.
Sorry. All there.
What's the concept?
It's basically, I mean,
what's the story?
It's like a man. His wife leaves him, and he has to like. I think he has to bring his he has to bring his kids up as a single dad or something. It's like in Watertown, New York.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest,
why is this such a shitty episode? Why are we talking about the thing?
Fault.
But it is. It's just like but it's. I mean, it's the music's great. It's but it's kind of like it's like dark, depressing Sinatra, but still like kind of suave.
Oh
yeah, I mean it's definitely it's like it's a Baroque pop record, like
yeah.
Is it? I'm hoping in my mind that it might maybe sound a bit like Scott Walker. Does it sound a bit like?
Yes.
Okay.
It's like that type of.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's that type of record. Yeah.
Okay.
But fucking Frank Sinatra singing.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So can we take this a step further, and with Mikey's connections, turn this into like a ska record to redo?
We could probably make Scottertown.
Frank
Sinatra.
Frank Sinatra.
Skank.
Okay.
Skank Sinatra.
Okay. Paul needs to get 10% of the royalties.
Fucking tighten that news.
Okay.
I'm actually going to check that out.
It's really good. If you like sad bastard Baroque pop music, it's
I'm making jokes about it because you touched the nerve.
That's how we're going to get through this, by making jokes. Exactly. All right, Mikey, have you got something uplifting, or are we going to go the other way?
No, this is okay.
Let's go darker.
Let's go
Refused.
Frank Sinatra.
Shape of Punk to Come by Refused, one of my favorite records of all time.
Damn.
Has been reissued as a 5-disc box set. Now,
Numero group?
it's got the album that we all know and love, but it's also got a double disc covers album of the entire album, which I don't normally like that sort of thing. Even cover albums I've been on, I'm like, okay, I'll do this, but I don't listen to the actual album because I'd rather listen to the regular record. This is pretty fucking great for a covers album, and also it's got a 5th disc of like basement practice demos of them putting together this record, which is a record that I've been like trying to figure out how they fucking made this record ever since I heard it. Cause it's just such a, it's a hardcore jazz record. And I was like, how did they do this? So it's got like boombox demos of them like rehearsing the songs.
I'd like to hear that. I think that would be cool.
It's pretty fucking, I'm like a sucker for that shit. I just want to hear like all the outtakes and hear the evolution of how the record became the record. And so there's a really cool disc of just like literal boombox demos, like just instrumental. I think it's just the drummer and the guitar player just writing the songs basically. And they're there, and then Dennis comes in later and just sang a bunch of cool shit over it. But like just hearing, it started like this, and then it became this whole other thing, It's a very cool package. It's a beautiful package. It's, got a slipcase and, a triple disc and a double disc, like with the story, David, the drummer, wrote like a essay about making the record and all that stuff. So like It's very cool. If you're a fan of this record, this is a really great package, and also the covers record is not
Who does
is not good. Fucking like all like a who's like Quicksand is on it. Gel
That was
is
my
on
question. Okay, go
Yes,
ahead.
mine too.
Yeah, like who covers it? Because sometimes
yeah,
it's a covers record and you're like, I don't know any of these fucking bands.
Quicksand, Gel, Snapcase is on it. Fucked Up does a song. Touche Amore does a song. Cold Cave does a song. Yeah, it's like all like a who's who of like kind of current hardcore.
Oh shit! Is that the original cover or like
This? Well, so yeah, this is like the cover of the covers record. And then, you know,
The cover.
yeah?
Yeah.
Before I was I have that record. I didn't know I had it until just now because I was going to ask you. I was going to say I don't think I've ever heard a Refused song, and where's a good place to start? But then when I saw the cover, I think I have it.
Yeah, I mean it's weird because they started out as like kind of, I don't know, almost like Snapcase or whatever, like or like kind of New York hardcore like worship band, and then they just kept evolving. And then this was, and he says in the liner notes that they just like wanted to do something completely different with hardcore. And it definitely took the world a bit of time to catch it, because they basically, no one gave a shit about what they were doing. But
then, so I mean, then a lot of bands basically took that kind of style.
Yeah.
Not so much in the same way, but definitely bringing in samples and beats and
yeah,
stuff
and
like
like
that.
honestly, like some of the stuff, like I honestly don't like a lot of the stuff that probably
you could
were
almost
influenced by Refused.
almost like Limp Bizkit, almost you could say is like an
Totally.
evolve from that, you know, and it's like
Absolutely, yeah. Like, and like I feel like a few of those bands have even covered those songs because that's where they got that idea, you know, like Anthrax covered New Noise. It's kind of like crazy how influential the record ended up becoming, but yeah, it's just like kind of it's fascinating to hear these boombox demos of them writing the album, like, you know, because you don't really know where it comes from.
At this point, I would rather hear that than listen to the record. Like I at the time, but like and Tim's pointed out, they were called live and they were amazing live.
Yeah,
but, it's definitely something that I have like I would never go back to, or I don't find myself reaching for it. But I would definitely probably, if I listened to these tapes, then I would want to go back and.
Yeah, it's really cool to hear. It's just cool to hear them just jam out the songs and try to figuring them out. And they leave in some of the like, oh, maybe we should do this other part here. You know, like they leave some of that stuff in. It's really great.
Yeah.
I love hearing that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Ken
just
Burke's
as
documentary, 10 part documentary on making of.
Right.
But they became an International Noise Conspiracy, or did I have them mixed up with
the singer ended up starting International Noise,
He's in ton.
And then
Bad Invasion as well, right?
Yep. And actually, Dennis, the singer, and David, the drummer, were in a hardcore band for a while called AC4 that fucking rules.
Yeah, it's like
really fucking great. Yeah, really great, like old school hardcore.
Yeah. That's a good record.
Yeah.
I really like Invasion. I think I talked
Invasion's cool too. Yeah, that's like way more poppy, but like, they're great. That's a cool, like another cool reissue that came out this year that I was just like mind blown.
I didn't realize I had it until you showed that cover of the real record. So now I really want to go back. I'm going to go back and re-listen to it because I think I did at the time, but probably at that time when they thought they were doing something different, I had been like, oh, like I've heard this style of change it up from like Rorschach, or like Iconoclast is doing like weirdo shit, and like there were like Descent and Libido Boys were doing all these mixed up parts. I was like, this is not new to me.
Right.
But at the same time, I think kind of what Allan mentioned before, like what's old is new again. And I think that's also like a Soul Asylum song, which is fucking love that band so much.
So
too.
good.
All right, the last pick of the day. Can you believe it?
I can't. Look, man.
No, wait. Just before we get onto this, you promised on our group chat a genre that has never been discussed.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I lied. Yeah, I lied.
That was just to,
Oh.
that was just to make this,
I've been waiting all night.
make sure we'll be here.
Yeah, no.
All right.
Yeah, that was a lie.
That's all right.
In fact, nearly everything I say, there's like partial truth to it. Like I know that there's truth to it, but like people could fill in the gaps.
All right, well,
People
I'm
can
done now.
fill things.
I'll see you guys next time.
See you next week.
Yeah.
All right.
So I promised a goth ska folk record with some dance hall steps to
Hell
it.
yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't have that. I guess that would be the World Inferno Friendship Society, right? Like they've been on here.
Yeah, it's been done. ABD.
No, but my last pick. I do have another record that's gonna like you guys will like, but this is just my last pick for the night. And I only thought about it because a few weeks ago there was a dude talking about his favorite seasonal Fugazi record.
Seasonal Fugazi record.
I saw that.
Yeah, and he was like, "Oh yeah, this time of year." I was like, "That's fucking funny. That's your seasonal record." And then I was like, "Oh man, I wonder if I have any." And then I realized that I do.
A seasonal Fugazi record.
No, I don't have a seasonal Fugazi record, but there is a seasonal record that I found myself continually coming back to. And maybe I only noticed it because in the gray Midwest, it was like fall to winter and that transitional period of things. I kept coming back to this record that is haunting and simple and like reminiscent of like early 4AD and like fiction record stuff like Cocteau Twins and like This Mortal Coil, but also like that kind of thing, but brings back the simplicity to it and how those records kind of go more toward the sorrow vein. This picks up and has a little bit more like hope to it, like almost an apricity thing, like we're in the dead of winter when the sun shines through the clouds and you feel it's through the clouds and you feel that like warmth on you and you're like, oh, things can get better. It's still going to be cold for a few months, but there's still hope. And that is a record that came out by the band Victory at Sea. And this woman has the most, in this particular record, has the most slow jazz, amazing voice. And the songs are very simple and they build appropriately and they're not too long. And it is just a slow, sad fall winter record. Ern Blanston put this out. So the same people that put out like Merrill and Rorschach and Chisel also put this shit out. And Computer Cougar and you name the list. All natural lemon and lime flavors, all of the great stuff. This is a Gurn record. This is, again, back to what I was talking about, like with Guzzard. This is like their transitional phase. I think they have a record or two after this and a record or two before this. But this is the one where I feel like they came into this point, or at least when I heard it in my atmosphere that happened, that this is the perfect wintertime transitional record. Her voice is hypnotic. The songs are simple, and it's a great loud record to play. It's unoffensive and captivating, which is weird to me because I never thought that I would like a record like this. And I know, like, I just never thought that I would. But here I am talking about it.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you, Paul. I don't know that one.
Had any of you guys heard this band before?
No, but I'm going to check it out for sure.
Yeah.
They were from Boston. They've been in a ton of other bands. This came out in 2004, not 1992.
20 years ago.
Check it.
It's still 20 years ago, to Ring's point. Maybe a little bit of 20 time reissue.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I think Carl's.
Numero will do it.
No, I don't know if there's some sort of like cheap freebie vinyl or CD pack you can get from Gurn right now. You spend like $20 and he'll send you just a bunch of random stuff. Because he put out a bunch of weird like dance New York stuff, Radio 4, The Flesh, and some of those bands like
I love those Radio 4 records. Those are some of my favorite records.
Garden Variety.
That band, The Watchers, like toured with James
Variety,
Chance and that
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
But this record is haunting and amazing to me. And it's not a Fugazi seasonal record. It's not a George Winston Winter into Spring. It's no like Windham Hill sampler, but it definitely has like those aspects of like lost hope and but then hoping again and sorrow and rebuilding. And look, it's a fucking swing set swinging with nobody on it. Did the kid jump? Did the wing push it? Is the kid over like here? Like
what happened?
Like what happened?
What happened?
Is there a YouTube channel dedicated to find this car in a lake? I don't know.
All right.
Nice.
That was good.
Beautiful. We've had a lot of fun, haven't we, today?
We have.
Tonight. We have. People watching haven't. We have.
Yeah. Good crew in the chat.
Yeah.
The chat, Rachel,
Yes.
Tim.
Yes.
Hey, are we gonna stick around for a minute? Because I have a record I want to
Yes.
show you.
After I do the sayonara, the sayonaras, and next week we're back. Next week, December 13th. Dan Granado, love Dan. Stephen, love Hazel. It's gonna be a good show. 2 more shows, I think, until the end of the year.
Wow.
97. No, 3 more. There you go. 97.
I don't think you should do a 100th show. I think you should make it like the 13th floor. Skip it and go right to 101.
Oh yeah.
Just like episode 722. 22. All right. It's been a great show. We're going to carry on chatting a little bit, as we always do, after the cameras stop rolling. Thanks for tuning in. Had a great time. See you next week. Until next time, everybody, stay healthy and stay clean.